I always forget how good this is.
Yeah, go ahead and enjoy that for a second.
It's almost not.
Welcome to the Rockhound Podcast. We're so happy to have you here, and we are overjoyed tonight to have a fantastic guest that y'all might recognize. And if not, we're going to go ahead and hand it over to them to introduce themselves. Take it away.
Am I first, am I?
Yes, you are.
You are.
Okay. My name's Justin Thomas. I own Black Opal Direct. I learnt all my opal skills from my father, and he came over and started opal in 1961. So there's a fair few years of experience there that I learnt from him. And about 15 years ago, we were a wholesale business before that. And then 15 years ago, I started this online presence with a little YouTube account, which grew over many years. It took a long time. And we have a nice little opal business as well. My wife and I, and my son is now coming into it too. So yeah,
Cool.
it's me.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. A few of our viewers know you already, I think. that little
I'd be
business
shocked
that you
if
were
anyone
talking
didn't,
about.
honestly.
Yeah, right. I hear like all the girls screaming right now.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. Sorry, I'm not going to do any backspins or any dancing, right?
He says. All right. So thank you, Justin. And who else do we have in the house tonight? Kirk, who are you?
My name is Kurt with Rockhound Adventures out in Western Colorado.
Well, welcome. And thank you for being here. And who are you today, Theo?
I'm Theo, actually, this week. I know it's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just Theo this week.
That's
from Montana.
I think that's the first time ever.
Hey, I think it is too.
Wow.
There's two other times that I've just been me, and that was Dan Hurd and Brian Majors. So the name goes back to just me when we have a really important guest on.
Ooh.
If Theo's fangirling a little bit, it means that, yeah, you can tell who I guess it's a big deal.
Say no more. And I am Karen from Ozone Fine Art Ventures out here on the Oregon coast. And we are so excited to get into the nuts and bolts of opals and all things opal addicted. So the first question that would be kind of cool for you to actually unravel, because you alluded to it first with the fact that your dad was into this, but that doesn't always mean that you follow in footsteps. So give us a little bit more on how you got into this opal craziness.
Yeah, so my father was a person that always believed that hard work pays off and you should work hard. And if you don't work hard, then you don't deserve to be rich or be wealthy or whatever. So he worked very hard. So in the beginning of his career, he was cutting opal for other people, and he would cut up to 50 to 100 stones a day for other people.
Wow.
And he worked extremely hard. And I joined the business, and nobody knows this, but my sister also joined the business at one stage. And we were a conveyor belt of opal cutters, cutting everybody's opals all together. And we would pump out around about 100 stones a day. My father, because he was more into the cutting, there wasn't as much money in opal making, just cutting opal for other people. So when I came on board, we started to think about maybe we should buy our own opal and we should start a wholesale business. So we did. And we were traveling back and forth to Lightning Ridge every probably couple of weeks. And we would buy the opal and in the rough, and then we'd take it home and we'd cut it, and then we'd go and see all of the big dealers all around Australia that would buy opal. And that was the beginning of our business, pretty much together. And we were missing the boat at that time when Japan was absolutely pumping, and opals, billions of dollars worth of opals were going over to Japan in the 80s and 90s. And we didn't go to Japan. We sold to people who took opal to Japan and sold, and they made a lot of money, and we didn't so much. So we worked hard to build a business over time. In the 90s, when the Japanese bubble economy burst, there was nobody you could sell an opal to, not one soul. And we had a lot of stock and we couldn't eat it. We had to sell it somehow. So that's when liquidation was happening, and we had to liquidate to be able to survive and all that sort of stuff. And so we decided to move to Lightning Ridge and be right next to the source to possibly get better quality opal, closer acquaintances, better connections with the miners. That worked for the first year, but then it got stale. It wasn't really great up there to be there all the time, because people like it. Miners like it when a new buyer is coming into the town and taking your opal out. When I was buying back then, I was buying the opal, we were cutting the opal, and then we were selling it to wholesalers that were coming to the Ridge or to Australia, pretty much, in the bigger cities. So it was a hard slog. And then I met my wife, and we got married, and I broke my dad's heart and said, we're going to leave you in the business and we're going to go and do it ourselves. And my dad was, he was at retiring age by then. So it was writing was on the wall, but it still broke his heart, poor bugger. And so ever since then, my friend, he was selling, totally off topic, but you'll get to it. He was selling water tanks online, and he was making a killing because it was working so well. And he said to me, why don't you sell opal online? I said, oh God, I don't know. So we had a couple of tools that figured out whether there was any kind of scope for opal to be sold online. And this tool was a tool that you could use for eBay and Google. And you typed in the word opal, and it came up with how many people around the world were actually searching for this keyword. And we found out this was 15 years ago. There was 1 million people a month typing in the word opal.
Wow.
Go figure that.
Yeah.
And so we figured that maybe there is a good chance that we have some kind of a business sitting there waiting for us. And the smartest thing I ever did was start out on eBay. And I wouldn't recommend it so much nowadays, but back then I cut my teeth and learned how to do business online properly through eBay, because eBay keeps you honest. And you say, if you mess up and you get bad feedback, you do everything you can to actually get that feedback back or reversed. And it turns you into a good, honest business person. Not that I wasn't in the first place, but it taught me some really good values around business to begin with. So when I took that away from eBay, which was a really hard thing for me to do at the time, because it's like, this is my little golden, egg. It's like, great. I was making my, I can't even remember how much I was making, but it was decent. And then my wife and I decided that we would build a website and start doing our own thing and wean ourselves off other platforms that cost us money, because eBay costs a lot of money in fees. Opal auctions also cost a lot of money in fees, and then you've got your PayPal fees on top of that, and it just eats away everything. So now we pretty much got our own YouTube channel, which I love the platform YouTube, because on Facebook and Instagram, if you want to be seen, you have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. On YouTube, you get paid to be seen. So it's a totally different, mentality of thinking. But YouTube, if it works for your business, it's a cracker of a platform. Yeah.
Agree. And we're so glad that you decided to go with YouTube, because I don't know how many of us would know about you if you hadn't gone into all of your just come along with me and grind on the wheels, or let me show you these opals. I mean, it's eye candy, but also you're incredibly educational. It's amazing how much you learn just watching you.
Yeah, and it wasn't until I started doing it thinking, people aren't going to be interested in that. It's not interesting. But when I started to realize that all the things coming out of my head, people were really taking interest on, and it's new news to them and old news to me, an old hat, and doesn't, I don't even think about it. But when I do think about it, and now I bring it up, something simple that's just goes when I'm grinding away, it's just like normal, like breathing.
Yeah.
It actually means a lot to other people, and that's where I realized that I can also help the whole industry get exposure to Opal, and it's working. A lot more people know about Opal.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think that one of the things that happened, we were talking about this before we started recording, a lot of people went into our period of downtime of COVID not knowing what they were going to do with themselves. And I think a lot of them found themselves in the YouTube zone for the first time, looking around, looking up tutorials, and you provided entertainment, education, and serious eye candy to watch. And so I had no problem. I'd sit there like grinding away and listening to you, and I'd be bummed if I missed a live, like,
Yeah.
Kurt, you were saying?
It's so hard to pick a time with the lives, because there's people from every parts of the world, and some are sleeping and some stay up till 2 a.m. to watch it. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh no, you're fine. It's all about you. You need I was just gonna say, all of your like videos and stuff you've put out, the eye candy is amazing, but like just watching your tutorials and everything, it's just very mesmerizing. And what's the word? I just had it and it just disappeared.
That's okay. The eye candy is great, but I love that you love the eye candy. But the Opal's pretty good too,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at this.
Right.
Oh, these big ears that I could actually, if I run too fast, I catch the wind and I fly.
Like I said, all the girls were screaming at the beginning.
Yeah,
no, they're screaming at the color in the Opal on the face.
Well, I think that another thing that was really attractive about the way that you present your videos is that you're absolutely honest. There's absolutely no salesmanship going on. It's super sincere, where you're like, this just broke my heart, or this is the best gem ever today.
Minus all the swear words that are off camera.
Totally understand that.
Yeah, it's infectious though. Like anybody who is a lapidary, or even just it just spans out, gets it, that you have your good days and you have your bad days and you have your intense, like, I just spent this much on this parcel and I'm and it cracked or whatever.
Yeah, you got to be careful of that. Knowing which fields Opal comes from is a big plus bonus to know that stuff. And it's really hard to know nowadays. Back when my dad and I were buying lots of Opal, we were buying from every field, and we got to know all of those fields around Lightning Ridge implicitly. And that's something I can't even teach my son now, because that Opal doesn't exist anymore. So only new fields or slight patches that have been found around the main areas is what we work with nowadays, because of Opal is depleting. And so the miners, they're getting older. So a lot of younger people don't want to work as hard as the older guys did. So Opal is getting a little bit more scarce. And also back to rough Opal and everybody during COVID, there was a real spike in value. And I have to take some responsibility for this, because the inspiration that I believe I gave to a lot of people, them wanting to try cutting Opal when they were stuck indoors and they had nothing else to do, drove price up. It drove the price of rough Opal, even rubbish Opal that a lot of people sell. It's driven the price up on that. And while people in Lightning Ridge and miners in Lightning Ridge thank me, seriously thank me for helping them keep on mining, because that sort of stuff is called pretty much mine run or whatever you want to call it, but it's just trace in Lightning Ridge. It's potch and color, and by them getting more money for it, they can keep mining to find the better opal. But unfortunately, what's happened is that many people have got their money burnt because the opal is not of high quality or medium quality or even commercial quality. It's just low grade. And sure, there's a lot of people learning out there, and that's the best stuff you can learn on. You're paying too much for it. And I'll say that secretly, don't tell anyone.
Did we edit that out? No. No, I think that you've addressed that in a few of the more recent videos also, about how there's a scarcity, and it's a true problem. Those of us who, I've been shopping for opal for decades, but on and off, didn't really get steam under actually working with it until COVID. I mean, I set the stones. I didn't really lap the stones much because it was kind of scary. And you made it, at the very least, you broke the ice on, okay, well, this is how scary it can be, and this is what you do. Yep. And ever since then, it's darn hard to get good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially here in the States, we don't have our own. We've got Spencer and we've got Virgin Valley.
But they're not comparable. Spencer's fine.
Opal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a big difference between volcanic and sedimentary opal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Spencers are fine, but they pretty much have to be triplets to get anything of any. They're so thin.
Yeah, stuff's got to be treated. And so if you want to work, solid, non-crazed, yummy, then you gotta get it from y'all. Which, had several of us wondering how we could move to Australia.
I know a guy who'd probably let us stay with them.
Right?
How
many people are already staying on your couch, Justin?
I have a rifle that guards my house 3 days a week. You guess which day. No.
I was actually hinting at Rookie, but I think Rookie's like 10 hours away from Lightning Ridge, so we'd be in the whole.
I am 9 hours away. Yep.
Yeah,
it's a long way. It's a long way. Audio books keep me company when I drive up there.
Yeah.
Well, you're on your way out to Lightning Ridge soon, eh?
Yes, Tamika and I are going out for a bit of a see if we can purchase opal and go down a couple of mines and show some stuff. We're probably going to try and make a good video out of it.
Oh, awesome!
Can't wait.
Yeah,
definitely looking forward to that.
I've got a guy who's on opal, and we may be able to go down his mine and look at the opal while he's mining it. So that would be pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
So, gentlemen, do you guys have some questions for Justin?
Yeah. You want to go first, Theo?
Oh, you can go.
I was just gonna say, what is your most favorite opal to work, and what is your least favorite?
Lightning Ridge Black Opal, obviously. Black Opal Direct. Hello.
I know. I just wanted to ask a question in case others.
No, Lightning Ridge knobby opal. Seam opal is nice if it's from the really good areas, but knobby opal it can't be beat. It's got that color on color that I constantly talk about. And some crystal opals do too in other areas, but knobby opal, there is nothing quite like it in the whole world. The body tone of knobby opal from Lightning Ridge, and there is actually no knobbies in any other field in the whole of Australia. It's only in a small 200 or 300 square kilometre area found. It's probably actually stretched out a bit further. There's been spots found with a little bit of knobby opal here and there, but Lightning Ridge Black and Lightning Ridge Crystal knobby opal, the best. Yeah.
We know about your crystal affliction if you watch.
It's not crystal meth, I promise. It's crystal opal.
So pretty. Well, thank you, Kurt. Theo?
So in your email, you mentioned that one of your hobbies is fishing in extremely remote places, and I really want to hear more about this because I also am an avid fisherman.
Oh,
and
very
that
cool.
made me so happy when I read that.
Very cool. Well, I I am an introvert, and sorry, once again, as much as people might think I am an extrovert, and that's what people guess, I am an introvert. I like to be by myself a lot. I like to be. I'm more comfortable around a couple of good friends rather than a whole crowd. If I have to talk in front of a crowd, which I've done in Lightning Ridge, talking about Opal before, my legs wobble, I shake, I get nervous. So so much of my time is spent looking at a screen, looking at Instagram, looking at social media, filming, editing, all that stuff. When I want downtime and quality downtime, I need to get far away from any cell phone range, from anything like that. So I go to places like the Kakadu and Darwin and the Northern Territory in Arnhem Land where the Aboriginals live. I get special licenses to go onto their properties and go fishing on there where there's nobody around. I just love it. It's the best. And there's this
amazing.
There's this. I go barramundi fishing. And I'm going in 1 month's time, and I can't wait because the wet season here has been incredible. And when the wet season floods, the floodplains up there, all the barramundi swim up into the floodplains and they breed. And I go up there and fish. But when we drive up those estuaries into the floodplains and you turn the engine off and you listen, it's absolute silence, except for you hear the old brolga, the old seagull, and a couple of other birds, and it is absolutely bliss. I can't explain it. It's like it's my church. I go there to find myself again, to recharge, and I so happen to catch a couple of fish at the same time, but the fish are just a bonus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great question. Would you consider yourself a workaholic at all?
Yes.
Since this is your job, but it's also your passion.
Yeah, well, and people don't know that much, but I have 5 staff that work with me. And so one's in sales, two are in marketing, one's in inventory stock, and one's shipping and logistics. And then there's my wife who fixes all the website breaks and pays the bills and does a lot of other things as well with associations.
Jewelry design.
Yeah, jewelry design as well. She does a good job at that. She's got good. So I do work more. Ever since we took on more employees, I seem to there's the mentality that you take on employees, it takes the weight off you. And no, it doesn't happen. You get more employees, the more work you've got. It's just simple as that. Because if somebody doesn't have something to do, you've got to create the work to give them something to do. So yes, it is. Yeah, I am an alcoholic, a workaholic. And I must admit, in the early days of building the website, building our presence, I worked my butt off creating content, building so many different things and listing Opal, photographing Opal, social media. I did it all myself. And that was really hard work to do it all myself. Now, since Melinda came along, which I was speaking to you, Karen, about Melinda, who's now doesn't work with us anymore. When Melinda came along, I had a lot of help with the socials, and so we could get EDMs out, which is an email out with all the stuff I love to talk about with Opal, and I had the freedom then to start making more videos. And so now my main job in the whole of this is to buy the Opal, cut the Opal, and video cutting the Opal and editing. I do all the editing myself, but the filming, my son and Tamika now do the filming for me as well. So, and we're getting pretty good, I've got to say. Tamika's pretty good at filming. I know my son's very good at filming. I just love the footage, and putting it together now is really fun because it's quite nice footage and it goes together well. And then I throw in the odd, in my videos, odd little things about life here that I've learned along the way. And I don't know, it just gives it a bit of a personal touch. And yes, I talk about my dad probably way too much on those videos. And so many people can relate to that. They can, because most people have known somebody that's died in their life, you know.
It's a wonderful legacy, and that's
absolutely.
like the best way to keep it alive. I love your last video was so good. You know, it just had it all, like really super good camera and great thoughts. You know, I like your voiceovers.
Very good. Okay, yep. No, I agree. No, it's important. I think it's important that if I learn some little lessons in life that's not just about Opal, then I'd love to share them, and I got the ability to do it, so I will. Yeah, and I do obviously show you the losses as well as the wins, and it happens. It's just the way the world, Opal, and life is.
Yeah. And again, I think that that's what makes it so approachable, even if you aren't into Opal necessarily. I don't know how that can actually happen, but if somebody just stumbled upon what you were doing, like I said, you know, the reality of what you're sharing is actually so approachable that you know it's just enjoyable to watch. Anyhow.
Yeah, well, I watch a lot of other YouTube channels, and it's not necessarily just rock hounding. It's fishing, it's camping, it's, you know, woodworking, doing all sorts of stuff. And I love Bobby Duke. He's mad as a meat axe. I love him so much.
I was actually going to bring up Bobby Duke. That was one of my questions.
Yeah, and
it's one of my favorite people alive.
A lot of those people, when they become successful, it's because they give a little bit of their personal life away. They tell their stories, and I find that really important for the people that I watch, because I don't just want to watch them catch a fish. I want to know what makes them tick as well. And if you know what makes them tick, you've got more of a connection to them, and you want to actually go fishing with them because you like the person. And that's what I really like to try and get across, is that I believe I'm a good person, and I want you to know that, as well as I can cut an opal and be a goof and dance and do stupid things. By the way, I can't dance. I can't dance. You have no idea how many takes it takes to look bad.
Perhaps you should play tennis for us then, you know?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, I've played tennis all my life. I've been a tennis player all my life. I toured America to try and become a pro tennis player when I was 18. Now I'm in the Australian paddle team.
Didn't you? Yeah, aren't you ranked? Like you're ranked currently, aren't you?
Yeah, I am now. I think I'm 19 in the world, in Australia.
Wow.
So not the world. Yeah.
That's so.
Hats off to you.
Cool. and don't forget, I'm 51, and everybody else who I'm playing against are in their 20s and 30s. So.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty fit. I'm happy that my body's held up.
That's great. And how's your son? He took a little tumble.
Yeah, he did.
Is he all right?
Yeah, he went off a jump. He's been a mountain biker for a little while, and he went off a really big 30-foot jump, and mistimed the lip. Sometimes the lip on the jump can be too harsh, and he went whoop and went head over turkey. He's very good on his when he dives or he trampolines. He can do double, triple twist somersaults and land on his feet like a cat. But this time he went a cropper, and he broke 2 vertebrae in his back, and he's got this. It's a compound, or what's it called? Compressed fracture on 2 vertebrae, which is not good. And he's got a brace that he has to wear for the next 2 to 3 months, unfortunately, until it heals properly. Wow. And he's got a good 6 months before he's back to normal. Hopefully he has no residual pain. So, yeah, that was a hard 2 weeks ago. That was the hard phone call to get, that's for sure. He goes, "Dad, I did myself a mischief," and he's lying down on the ground waiting for the ambulance. It took an hour and a half for the ambulance to come too. So
yeah, not the phone call you want as a parent at all. But perhaps this is going to keep him in the studio as far as he's doing some great cutting.
He is.
Following in your footsteps very nicely.
You know what? This is really funny. I'm talking to a friend of mine I've been friends with for years, and he's just not really invented, but made a new polishing machine. And you've probably seen it in the latest videos, and I really like it. But we were talking about how we were going to do everything and, all the logistics to it. And my son comes in and goes, "Dad, can I cut some opal?" I go, "I'm on the phone." He goes, "Can I look in the bucket here and just find some rough?" And I went, yeah, go, do whatever. And anyway, comes back 5 minutes later, and he's actually got this big piece, and he broke it open because it was mostly sandstone, and there's this color bar going through this nice piece of black opal rough. And he hands it to me, and he goes, "Can I cut this?" And I'm going, go on. I'm seeing several $1,000s in this, and he's just going to have a crack at it. It's like, I went, you know what? My dad let me, when I was younger, my dad let me go to Lightning Ridge for the first time, and I spent $30,000. You probably heard the story. Spent $30,000 on a parcel, big bucket of rough, and I lost pretty much all of it. But I got one crystal out of it. One crystal that's in my collection, and it's one of the best crystals ever. And that's my little reminder right there. But anyway, that's a story. I jump like an ADHD rabbit.
It's all good.
My son is grinding away on this thing, and I get off the phone, and he's showing me this color, and it's the blue color that you don't really often see anymore in black opal. You see a lot of purple, and purple's quite common, but the blue, the bright blue, is just, it's gorgeous. And that's what it was. He faced it, and it was looking gorgeous. And there was one more piece there that he hadn't faced. And I just told him, "Do you realize that you're grinding, it ended up being $7,000 worth of opal that he ground out all by himself."
Woo!
And
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, we did the other piece together, and he cut them all, and some of them have already sold on the website. He's so chuffed that he's going, "When are we going to Lightning Ridge next? When are we going to Lightning Ridge next?"
That's so cool.
I said, right there and then is when my son got opal fever, right then.
Yep.
And that happens to everybody. And my son, he's showing some kind of interest in opal, but never did he see the value in it or the fun in it. And when he did that, it was the best thing that could have ever happened, because now he's hooked.
That's such a good story. I love that. And the fact that he went and he was able to eyeball, a good stone out of like a bucket of whatever. You were like, yeah, just go find something to practice on. How awesome.
Through osmosis, through being around me a lot, he's soaked in a lot of information, and it's amazing how much information he's learnt just from doing that. So I do see him working stones on the wheel with his hands. He's done backs by hand, which I never was able to do for a long, long time, and he's only already picking it up. And you always want your kids to do better than you, and at his age, he's caught bigger and better fish than I've ever caught in some genres. We always have this banter that I'm the better fisherman, he's the better fisherman. But anyway, and if my son does one day take over my business, which I would absolutely love, I think he'll be very good at it, because he's got the right head on his shoulders. He's a good person. People love him. He's a great guy. Whether he keeps on doing these videos on YouTube would be fantastic too, with what he's learnt from my dad and me, which would be pretty cool. It's chuffing me up a bit here. It's like,
right? It's always a good thing, because you don't know if your kid's going to be into what you're into. I mean, they might go in a totally other direction, and they might even like have, certain attitude about like, oh, well, that's what you do. I could never do that. And so the fact that you guys can work together is just so cool.
Yeah. And that was something that my dad and I, because we were always together, we had such a close relationship, and I see the same thing forming again, which I am so happy about, because I get to keep him close. And even if he gets married or whatever, we still get to see him almost every week because we'll be working together if that's the way he goes. But he's had this little side business of filming, doing filming for other outdoor companies like fishing and stuff like that. So people have been flying him to remote areas and he'd film them catching fish and then edit it for them and all that sort of stuff. So his tools that he's brought to this business already has helped the business in the marketing sense. So just by him cutting these opals and showing that interest, he's like, it's my dream, because that's what I did before I was into opal, or when I was a kid, I learned photography. I love photography. I love videography. I love all that stuff. And I used to edit on an old PC when things used to crash all the time. Now we've got Macs and it's all magic. And you're laughing, Kurt. You've got a PC there, don't you?
I did.
I mean, we used to have to be conservative about film. You know, it was actual
Yeah.
film,
I know.
you know. So
I remember one time getting this pumpkin and putting a bunger, like a firecracker in it, and then setting my tripod up and going, hoping I got the shot, but I wasted the whole lot of film just to get the shot. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. Well, we've got some pictures of yours. Do you want to tell us? Let's have a look at some of. You know, we've been talking about eye candy. Yeah. Well, how about this?
Yeah, so that's probably a $25,000-$30,000 US Black Opal. And my best friend, who I talk to him every couple of days or at least once a week, he wanted to get in. He's very successful himself, so he wanted to get himself something that he could be proud of that his best mate does, like in opal, and he's got a slight connection to Lightning Ridge as well. And so we decided to find him the best opal we could, and he wanted an F-off ring. Like I want it to be so amazing. And so we got a guy called Fine Lines Jewelers, who's a close friend of ours over on the Gold Coast. He made Posh Spice's engagement ring. And we got him to design this ring. And this is it's the chunkiest ring. It's so big, you have no idea. It's all platinum. It's all platinum. You can't imagine. It's just crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And he got it for his 50th birthday on 2 weeks ago. So
cool.
Wow.
He rang me up from the restaurant where his wife pulls it out, and because he didn't know if he was going to get it or not on his birthday. He was hoping to. And he just like, this is exactly what I wanted. And I was like, yep, so good.
Gorgeous. Yeah, he's just going down the street, kiss my ring.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I know Theo and I are particularly drooling over, the configuration of that, just being silversmiths ourselves. And
I mean, I've got video footage of it as well if you wanted to see that. It's got his name engraved underneath, and there's a whole bunch of different things about it that is pretty amazing.
Cool. Yeah, I really like the asymmetry, the particular style,
it's
very
rugged,
uncommon. Yeah,
it's rugged and classic and beautiful. It's got
all in one.
All those lines are just make it so masculine too. It's just really cool.
I love it.
Yeah, it can be hard to make like bling masculine.
It can definitely be
without a better way of saying it. And I love all of the diamonds and everything. It just works.
It's so cool.
It's funny whenever I say online or I mention a stone and I go, oh, this looks like a really beautiful gem for a men's ring, a lot of women jump up and say, hey, that would suit me too. Okay.
We get the rest of them, you guys. It's all good. Okay, well, if your monitors and TVs haven't melted down already, how about this one?
Yeah, I only acquired that about 2 weeks ago. This one, it came to my workshop, which I am in right now. Somebody brought it to me, and it was 21 carats, and I had to own it because it's it's just perfect. And we don't have that stone, this type of stone in stock. And it's a massive expense to buy something like this. It's the absolute what, you know, most miners are looking for. And I saw that I could also improve it slightly. And in the last live on YouTube, I cut it. I rounded the dome just ever so slightly more without losing that color on the edges. Because if you roll over a dome on a stone like that too much, you get what we call a fried egg look. And I don't know if you heard of the fried egg look. It's where the potch shows up on the edges and the yolk is the color in the middle of it. And a lot of people can make that mistake when they're cutting opal, is they want to put a dome on it thinking every cab's got to have a dome, and they'll lose the color all around the edges. So I had to be super careful of that. And what else? It had a nice color on the back, but it wasn't polished. I couldn't believe. I know who owned the stone, and I'm not going to mention, but they didn't polish the back. I'm like, you're crazy. Why not? You know,
Yeah.
it was semi-polished. So yeah, I thought I'd polish that.
Yeah, beautiful on both sides.
Beautiful.
Honestly, don't think that will last very long because it's up for $150,000, but it's 10,000 a carat. You know, it's gorgeous. So there's a fair amount of If I waited long enough, I'd get 10,000 a carat for it, but I'm not greedy.
It's got all of everything. That's what
it really is.
It's all the things, like, and more, and it's big.
When
so
you move it around, it's got the Superman castle like straw pattern that blends together, which I really like. Plus the flagstone that moves all around it, and a lot of chaff as well. So yeah, it's got a lot going on. Doesn't have so much 3D color on color. It does have it a little bit, but not the depth of like a crystal would have. But nevertheless, even the platinum ring that you saw beforehand, that doesn't have color on color. That's quite a 2D sort of ring, but opal. But the color is absolutely bright and cracking and striking. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really
I
is.
mean, you know, if it doesn't have color on color, but it's like neon lights, you know, it's okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
See that in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at those pieces of rough. If I could only have them again.
Speaking of seeing stuff in the dark, this is so we're going to reveal the next picture, and that lump is this then?
Correct. Yeah, it's only the two of the stones out of all of them. We cut another 5 stones out of it, but they're the 2 main stones. And so if you go back to that rough again, the rough comes from a field in Lightning Ridge called the Grawan field. One very, very wealthy and famous opal miner found it, and he came to us to sell it. And we saw it, my dad and I saw it and went, yeah, this is the type of opal from Grawan that you love to see. And we had no idea. Okay, so the middle biggest piece you can see there, you can see the best color, the red, yellow, and gold right there. That big piece is what we put our money on, okay? And that cut the oval, and the piece sitting above it with that little slight tidbit, a little bit of green, not the bright green on the top, but the little bit that looks like more like a plate, that's the butterfly wing. And we never knew that was going to face like it did.
And so that would be like the gamble piece, and look at that.
That's crazy.
So cool.
We when that came out, my dad and I, we had a drink afterwards and cheer and celebrated. Like, this was the most beautiful gem. Yeah, and we got our money back on the oval, on the parcel. So that paid for, when we sold it, that paid for the parcel. So essentially, that butterfly wing was free. So I decided that, Dad, I will never see another stone like this, and I want to keep it. So I put it in my collection for many years. And then when the bubble economy in Japan burst and we couldn't eat our opal, we had to sell and liquidate. Unfortunately, I had to sell that stone to get by, to keep my family afloat. And I guess collections for rainy days like that are, can be helpful, and that saved us, that stone. But gee, I'd like to have it back. I tell you what.
Okay, it's a wanted poster. If you have
Yes.
this one,
Let's do that.
Oh, get it.
Yeah.
Post it everywhere.
I went
The
to
phone's
Japan.
ringing.
I know the stone went to Japan, and when I went over there to play the Asia Pacific Championships for paddle, I was thinking, where is that stone? I know it's on the continent somewhere.
You know, what I think is so neat about the cut on this, did you get the idea from that pattern that it
Yep.
needed to be? Oh man, that is so
I
awesome.
love it.
Yeah,
It's
the pattern depicted it, and if you look at where the butterfly wing curves in like a heart at the point, there was potch just above that, so it didn't matter that it was there or not. So we cut it away, and then oh wow, it's actually a butterfly wing. It's beautiful, yes. And that rolling ribbon pattern, you have no idea from that photo, but there's red all through it, as well as orange, gold, and green, and blue, and purple. And
That is so cool.
it's got a
That
color
is.
in there that I don't think you can even name.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
So how long do you sit in like kind of like that stupefied stare after you're done polishing something like this? Like, do you do you have to admire it for a few hours? Because it would be so
Yeah.
hard.
Probably more like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Pulling it out. I have stones in my stock in my collection, and when I open the little box up, it's like a little memorabilia lane. Like, I love it because I see all these stones. I go, oh, that's from Dave. Dave's passed away. I remember buying lots of opal off him, and I had that gorgeous stone. It just reminds me of so much. It's so cool. And my little stone where I made my biggest mistake when I was young is sitting there, and I love it so much because it taught me so much. You know, there's so much history in just the stones. That's what I love about what I do, is because when I cut an opal, I love to bring that stone to life, but I'm only bringing it to life for its journey into somebody else's family or life as well. And then that journey begins with that gem and gets handed down to generations. And when it's an expensive stone like these two here, they get looked after, and they get, they get put into jewelry. And pardon me, losing my voice.
But you are saying that it is okay to be a hoarder, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not so much of a hoarder. I'm probably more of a sentimental person.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because a lot of those stones, if I wasn't sentimental about them, I probably wouldn't be keeping them. I'd probably just sell them. But some of them I will sell before I'm gone. But there's probably 5 gems in my collection that I will give to my son because they have so much history and sentimentality. Is that a word? Sentimentality?
It
Yeah.
sure
I think
is.
so.
Yeah.
If not, it is now.
Yeah. If it's Shakespeare.
Real quick, if not.
All right. And we've got this here. And I would love to hear this story because I know you've got some.
Yeah. So COVID was good to us, and I've always wanted to create something in the opal industry, like something that I put my mark on. And there is a couple of other little things that I've got in the pipeline, but I wanted to make a gem torch that was unique to pretty much opal. While other gemstone dealers can use it and do use it, I really wanted to create something that everybody's using in opal, and it's what's happening. So I created this gem torch, and a lot of people complained that the other models, the Chinese models, the cheaper ones, they get hot in your hand and they overheat, and then you got to take the battery out and charge it and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of people have problems with them. And so I wanted to make something that was of high quality and could just plug it in and charge it up and not heat up. And also with the momentary button, you could just press it down when you needed the light, because all you're doing is looking for inclusions in a gem, and then you put the thing down and you don't even have to switch it back off because it turns off as soon as you take your finger off the button. And that was its main feature. There's an optical lens in there that we came up with so that it magnifies a much lesser bright LED in there, but it still pumps out just as much light as a lot of the others. And what makes it awesome is that the tube going through out the front, a lot of the gem lights, if you're looking back at yourself, so 1 second, if I get a piece of opal here, and where's one of my gem lights? Here's one here that I have. This is one of my prototypes. This is a 3D printed version, and it's a smaller version. But if you shine into a gem like that and you're shining it back at yourself, a lot of the other gem lights, they spray and go into your eyes, and it makes it hard. But this gem light punches the light straight forward, almost like a laser, so that when you're facing it towards yourself, you're not getting that bright, squint. You don't have to squint as much. So that was my goal, was to make something that was unique and a unique design. It's not I didn't invent the gem light. I would never say I did that, but I wanted to make something that looked something that I made. And so we made it the Gemfish IF1, the Inclusion Finder 1. Pardon me. The name Gemfish was my business name before Black Opal Direct, by the way.
Oh, I love it.
That's awesome.
So some of the folks out here in the land of viewers are probably wondering right now, like, how important is it to have a light? Like you're talking about having a gem, a gem light for what? So yeah, let us know what is especially special about being able to look into yours.
Well, I can tell you in a story. Well, one of the opal buyers that go to Lightning Ridge often, he's up there every couple of weeks. He came in to see me. He said he had something special. Actually, that other gem that I showed you earlier, I bought it off him. And he said to me while we're sitting there having a coffee and I'm looking at a couple of opals, he goes, "Your gem light saved me last week when I was in Lightning Ridge. I was out at the Grawin Fields and I was looking at this piece of opal, and I thought, I've got the gem light. What am I doing, you idiot?" And he pulls it out and he shines it, and he found 2 cracks in his stone. And he was about to spend like $6,000 or $7,000 on the stone. And he goes, you saved me. You saved me that money, because I would never have got my money back. They wouldn't have taken it back. So that's what I believe. It's a high investment on this thing because it's $150. But if you do 2 bad purchases and it saves you from doing that, you've got your money back.
Exactly.
Wherever I go with Opal, I take one with me, because they shows up all the inclusions so well.
You were saying that it works for those, anybody who's also trying to illuminate stones, and those of us who facet really, really need a light like that.
I think the most attractive thing about all of that was no more sunspots, because I have one, but I blind for the next 20 minutes every time I'm investigating my stones. So I may be needing a gemfish, honestly.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I must say though, as a negative for somebody who's a sapphire faceter or something, I've got a friend who does that, and he's very, very good. He's one of the best. And I got him one of these to have a go at, and he tried it. And he said, "I wish there was a setting where you could leave it on so I don't have to keep pressing the button," because he's trying to study where the inclusion is and figure out where he needs to facet. And that's a little bit different to opal cutting.
Right.
So I understand where he's at, where if he wants to be able to set it up and then just constantly loop and check out where he's going to end up cutting the stone in.
I'm thinking tape, hair tie,
cable tie around there.
Yeah.
Rig it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice as a setting that was set on the thing that you could just click and done.
Maybe the finder too,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Point out. Awesome.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, do you guys have any other questions?
I actually wanted to hear about this. So, okay, one of my all-time heroes, like one of my biggest role models / heroes is Bobby Duke. And I was watching one of your videos probably almost a year or 2 ago at this point. It was quite a ways back. And I remember having this like mind-blowing worlds collide moment because I saw one of his comments on your video, and then
right.
I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, oh my gosh, this losing my mind. Totally like
you were losing your mind. I was too, by the way.
I was so excited. And then some time passed, and I kind of forgot about it. And then he posted his video making the pendant, and then I saw him talking about you, and I was just so excited. Like, it was the coolest thing ever. So did he just get an opal from you, or I was wondering how that came to be, because that was so awesome.
I mean, firstly, the guy is the most talented man with his hands that I've known anywhere. Like, he can do anything. He puts his mind to it. He can do anything, and he's an absolute stupid goof at the same time. And that appeals to me so much. And I have to say that I have got ideas from Bobby over the years. Not so much anymore, but in the beginning, I just thought, you know what? I like being stupid. To my wife's rolling her eyes all the time, but I'm always stupid. I always make jokes, and I love the way Bobby Duke shows that he's the master craftsman and also a goof, you know, and they're also personable, where he talks about his mental illnesses and stuff like that as well.
Absolutely.
And so it gives you all of the facets and understanding to this guy, and you know, it shows that nobody's perfect, which people relate to. I love that.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, we started chatting on Instagram, and I said to him, "Would you?" Because he likes opal, that's why he started watching. Would you like me to send you an opal and you can work on it and see if you can make a video? Just give me a little plug. And so I sent him a piece that was worth about $1,000, and he sat on it for a good 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm messaging him, how you going? And I understand with YouTube videos, because you with ADHD, I don't have like a bank of videos that I've got all set up for the next year. Like, I'm going to see my pants. Like, I'm just finished filming for Tuesday, and I'm just about to finish editing for Tuesday. I'd love to have 10 more of them, and that's my plan, but it's hard to get that many out. And so, I understand that he struggled to figure out what he wanted to do with it, because it's hard to know, especially when he's never cut an opal before. So he's having to learn how to cut opal at the same time as make a video at the same time as what the hell's he going to do with it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think he did a great job. And I haven't spoken to him since. But that was very cool. Brush with YouTube fame.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So really quick, you're available on YouTube. You've got Instagram, don't you? What are all of your socials so that people can find you?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. There's some really dumb stuff on TikTok, and I thought, you know what? Because my wife rolls her eyes and she says, "You don't have to be that dumb." I thought, I'll just start a TikTok account where I can be as stupid as I want and just go do dumb shit. Sorry, shouldn't say that. And I did do lots of dumb stuff on there. And if you want to go and have a bit of a laugh and laugh at me, not with me, by all means. There's plenty of stuff on there. What else is there? There's threads, like just linked to Instagram, but it's pretty silly. We're also on Pinterest. We're everywhere.
The main place is Black Opal Direct.
The main place is Instagram and YouTube, which is what I concentrate. Oh, look at that! Yay! And awesome oyster patch.
You get this with it. I made that with one of your opals that I bought from a parcel during the pandemic, and I cut that and then made that. So just wanted to share that really quick with you.
Beautiful. I think you actually sent that once before, haven't you?
No, I don't think I shared that with you. It's on my neck right now, actually.
Oh, there it is. Oh, that one.
That's why it's familiar.
Very well done. Well done. That's beautiful.
Thank you. But the world thanks you for what you're doing, Justin. We so
Absolutely.
appreciate all that you do. You're
Thank you.
amazing. You're a master.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm humbled. Thank you. I really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you guys wanting to speak to me.
Well, we'd love to do it again. You know, this is just like a truffle, a short Justin fix.
Oh, do I love truffles? Oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much. And we'll catch you on the next Rockhound podcast. Thanks, y'all, for watching. And we'll see you again. Rock on.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.